I never saw it coming. Not like this, not from her. It was just after 8 p.m. When Ms. Sophia Lang closed the office door behind us with that soft, deliberate click that sealed everything in. Everyone else went home, she said, voice low and edged with something I couldn't name. I need you here with me tonight to finish the merger file. No one else understands the numbers like you. The city lights blinked outside the glass walls like they were watching, but inside her corner office it was only the two of us. Chairs pulled so close our knees hovered inches apart. My stomach tight and hard. I needed this job more than air, yet the sudden privacy felt like a trap I'd walked into willingly, heart already racing ahead of my good sense. That faint jasmine and musk perfume of hers wrapped around me again. The same one that had distracted me during my interview 6 months ago, making my answers stumble while she just smiled. She leaned back in her leather chair, rubbing her temples slowly, like the weight of the whole day was pressing down on her. The words spilled out then, like she couldn't hold them anymore. She walked out 3 months ago, she whispered, voice cracking on the last word. Said I was married to the company, not to him. The house is empty. The nights are longer than I can stand. I felt the first forbidden ugh glow in my gut. Pity mixing with something hotter, sharper, something that made heat crawl under my skin. My mind screamed at me. This is your boss. One wrong move and everything you've worked for ends right here. Desire flared anyway, raw and unstoppable, while guilt slammed in right behind it, leaving me breathless and ashamed of how quickly my body betrayed me. Her hand brushed mine, reaching for the same spreadsheet printout. She didn't pull away. The silk of her blouse grazed my wrist, cool, expensive, impossibly soft, and a spark shot straight up my arm, straight into my chest. I froze, heart hammering so loud I was sure she could hear it. Ms. Lang, maybe I should. I muttered, the words dying before they could save me. She smiled then, small and knowing, like she'd caught the secret I was trying so hard to bury. The moment stretched between us, thick as storm air, until my phone buzzed with some useless notification that didn't matter at all. But the heat stayed, clinging to every inch of me, refusing to let go. We went back to typing, fingers moving over keys like nothing had happened, yet the air between us had already changed, irrevocably, and I knew, deep down where I couldn't lie to myself, that we weren't just finishing a file anymore. Her perfume kept flooding my breaths, jasmine and musk pulling me under while I pretended to focus on the numbers. I shouldn't be noticing how her shoulder brushed mine when she leaned in to point at a column. I shouldn't be feeling this ache bloom low and hot just from the way her voice softened on my name. She was my boss, the woman who signed my checks, who could end my career with one quiet call. Yet here I was, pulse roaring, fighting the gravity that kept dragging my eyes back to the curve of her neck when she tilted her head. Guilt twisted tighter. Remember the mortgage, remember the promotion you're chasing, but the hunger only sharpened. Whispering that maybe, just maybe, she felt it too. The city outside kept blinking, indifferent, while inside her office the space between us shrank to nothing and everything all at once. I swallowed hard, fingers trembling over the keyboard, wondering how much longer I could pretend this was only about the merger. Wondering if I even wanted to. By 10:30 the city outside had folded into a heavy hush, streetlighted bleeding faint gold against the glass while the office felt smaller, tighter like the walls themselves were leaning in. She pushed her chair closer without a word at first, the soft roll of wheels dragging our knees until they hovered just shy of touching under the desk. And then her voice slipped out low, almost hoarse. We're not leaving until this is perfect. Sit with me. The closeness wasn't some accident anymore. The deadline had become this silent agreement that locked us there shoulder to shoulder in the dimmed glow, her body heat already seeping through the thin space between us. Her jasmine scent grew thicker with every breath I tried to steady, flooding my lungs until my thoughts started to drown in it, sweet and dangerous and impossible to shake. She turned toward me then, eyes glassy and searching, the kind of look that made the air catch in my throat. You're the only one who ever looks at me like I'm still a woman, not just the boss, she said, voice cracking on the edge of the words. The power I have, it scares people away, but you stayed. That hit deeper this time, cracking open every late-night email and every extra project we'd buried ourselves in, reframing them as something almost intimate, Something had been pretending wasn't there. My mind spun hard, career suicide if this slipped even an inch, professional boundaries I was already teetering on, but the desire thickened anyway. Slow and heavy like warm honey I cowled and swallowed past, leaving my chest tight and my hands useless on the keyboard. Her fingers rested on my forearm then, deliberate, no brush this time, tracing the line of my rolled-up sleeve with a slowness that made my skin burn under the touch. The warmth of her skin smooth, alive, impossibly real sent a jolt straight through me, electricity humming up my arm and pooling low where I didn't want to name it. I whispered, barely any sound at all, "This is dangerous," but she only leaned in closer, her breath brushing warm against my ear, soft and steady like a secret she'd been holding just for me. My phone lit up right then with a text from my roommate, some pointless check, and that sliced through the thick air and gave me one shaky second to pull back. I took it, heart hammering so loud it drowned everything else, yet the ache only sharpened, deeper and hotter. Clinging to the place her fingers had been, refusing to let the moment fade, I could still feel the ghost of her breath on my skin, the way her scent wrapped tighter around me, and part of me already knew pulling away wasn't going to save either of us. Not tonight. Midnight crept over the city like a slow thief, stealing the last of the day's light from the office windows while the overheads had already given up, plunging everything into a soft, intimate dimness broken only by the desk lamp's steady glow. She pushed back from the desk with a tired exhale that brushed warm across the space between us, then stood, her movements unhurried as she kicked off her heels, letting them fall with a muffled thud that seemed to echo forever in the quiet. Her bare feet patted softly on the carpet as she motioned me toward the leather couch nestled against the wall beside her desk, her voice dropping to that low, trembling timbre, "We need a break from the screen. Come here." If it even was one, pulled me forward before my mind could protest, the original reason for staying late, the merger file. The numbers, the deadline now dissolved into this endless, all-night vigil that had locked us inside the empty building like some private confession booth. No voices down the hall. No elevators humming, just the two of us sealed in with the city lights twinkling inferiorly far below. The proximity wrapped around us completely now, total and heavy, our bodies drawn to the couch where the leather sighed under our combined weight, shoulders nearly touching, the air thick with everything unsaid. Her jasmine scent filled the space, richer and more insistent in the stillness, mingling with the faint, comforting trace of her evening coffee that still lingered on her skin, triggering a rush of memories from every single morning she had passed my cubicle and left me dizzy, heart racing for reasons I always denied. I sank down beside her, close enough that the heat from her leg brushed against mine through our clothes, sending tiny sparks dancing along my nerves. She turned toward me then, her eyes glassy and vulnerable in the low light, the kind of look that made my chest ache with a mix of pity and something far more dangerous. "I've thought about your hands on me more than once," she confessed in a voice so low it felt like it was meant only for the dark between us. "The loneliness is crushing, the way the house stays silent now that HE's gone, and your right here stays gone. Strong, loyal, everything he was't." Those words landed like a confession I wasn't ready for, highlighting the power imbalance she held so casually over my life, my paycheck, my dreams. Yet she was laying it bare, offering me the upper hand in this moment, as if I could be the one to save her from the emptiness. Guilt stabbed deep and sharp through my core, a knife twist reminding me of the bills stacking up, the promotion I'd been eyeing, the professional boundaries I was shattering with every second I stayed, but the obsession bloomed anyway, raw and unstoppable, flooding my senses with a hunger that made my hands tremble slightly at my sides. Without another word, she reached for my hand, her fingers warm and sure as she placed it gently but firmly on her thigh, the cashmere fabric of her skirt gliding smooth and liquid-like under my palm. Warm from her body heat. The touch wasn't accidental any, more it was an open invitation, deliberate and charged, pulling me straight into the spiral of what we both knew we shouldn't want. The life I couldn't afford to gamble, but the desire answered back even louder, a roar that echoed through my veins and left no room for escape. A distant siren wailed from the streets far below, its lonely cry slicing through the glass for one brief, merciful heartbeat, giving me that fragile chance to hesitate, to pull my hand away and end this before it went too far. But her fingers tightened over mine right then, pressing my palm deeper into the softness, drawing me further into the pool where her breath came warmer against my ear, and steady and full of the same trembling need that mirrored my own. The internal war tore at me harder, and ever I needed to stop this, to remember she was my boss lady, the one who held my world in her hands. Yet the gravity of her closeness yanked me under, the aches spreading like a slow fire through my body as the night seemed to pause, holding us both on the edge of something neither of us could take back. 1:30. Slipped in like a quiet thief, stealing the last scraps of distance we'd clung to all night. She reached for the lamp without breaking our gaze, her fingers grazing my wrist again as the light died to nothing but pale moonlight and the laptop's faint blue glow, wrapping the whole office in a hush that made the air feel alive between us. "Stay right here," she whispered, the words brushing my ear like a secret she'd been holding since the day she hired me. Her hand guided me closer until our bodies pressed together on the couch, no space left at all, her warmth bleeding through the thin layers of fabric and settling deep into my skin like it belonged there. The deadline had turned into nothing more than a flimsy excuse now, every reason we'd used to stay locked in here dissolving under the weight of how completely she filled the space around me. Her perfume saturated everything, that jasmine and musk crapping tighter with each breath I tried to take, hijacking my senses until the rest of the world faded to gray. Her lips brushed my jaw, not quite a kiss but close enough to make my heart stutter, her breath warm and unsteady as she leaned in. "This is mutual," she breathed, voice cracking on the edge of a confession. "I need you tonight the way you've needed this job. No one will know. Let me take care of you the way you've taken care of me." Those words stripped the last practical shield I had left. The power she held over every paycheck, every future I'd planned. It only pulled me deeper, making surrender feel like the only honest thing left. Desire crashed past every moral wall still standing inside me, raw and unstoppable, leaving my hands trembling where they rested against her. Her fingers slid under my shirt then, tracing slow, deliberate circles across my chest. Then lower, the touch electric and sure, sending heat rippling through me that made my breath catch sharp in my throat. That jasmine scent, the velvet warmth of her skin wherever it met mine, the low thrum of the playlist still humming softly in the background. It all hit at once in one overwhelming wave, hijacking my mind completely until nothing else existed. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, stop or yes or her name, but her lips hovered a breath away from mine, her palm pressing exactly where the ache had become unbearable, holding us right there on the edge. The night froze in that suspended second, my entire world balanced on whatever she might do next. Or wouldn't. She didn't move closer, didn't pull away either, her fingers stilled against me, trembling just enough to tell me the same war was tearing through her. I felt the loneliness she'd confessed earlier settle heavy between us, mixing with the guilt that twisted sharp in my chest. Because I knew this closeness would echo through every morning after, through every meeting where her eyes would find mine across the desk. We stayed like that until the city lights outside started to pale with the first hint of dawn. No full surrender, no clean line crossed. Just the ache of almost, lingering like smoke after a fire that never quite burned out. I'd walk out of here with my job intact, my mask back in place, but her heat would follow me, that jasmine scent haunting every quiet moment, leaving me with the bittersweet knowledge that some edges you never step off.